You see, I have an idea. Pei Su leaned in to share his thoughts in hushed tones. Commander Zhao's commission involves us developing a tank and one or more large-scale destructive weapons. How do we ensure they feel we have given our all? It's quite simple. The 99A is our most advanced tank, yet by standards. It is merely a third-and-a-half generation tank. From what I gather, there must be fourth-generation tanks domestically. If we manage to produce a fifth-generation tank, they will surely believe we have exerted ourselves to the fullest, correct? The group fell silent. Is this even a feasible plan? They pondered. The concept of developing a fifth-generation tank seemed far-fetched. Xiao Hua and Chen Kai were already accustomed to Pei Su's thought process, but Wang Qingyu, Li Bei, and Zhang Ming stared at Pei Su in disbelief, as if encountering an enigma. This notion that if I earn 500 billion, my family will respect me is absurd. Yet Pei Su remained unaware of their skepticism. He continued, as for Commander Chi's commission, it involves developing military exoskeleton armor. Currently, the best exoskeleton armor is merely third generation. If we create a fourth generation exoskeleton, it will convey the impression that we have labored diligently to develop it over an extended period. Pei Su spread his hands nonchalantly. So? Isn't that quite simple? The group remained silent. I suddenly feel an overwhelming urge to hit him, Wang Qingyu remarked. Zhang Ming nodded in agreement. Li Bei echoed their sentiments. Pei Su, puzzled, asked, what do you mean by that? Do you hear the absurdity of what you're saying? Wang Qingyu retorted, frustrated. We only have 6 months, leader. 6 months for 6 people to develop a fifth-generation tank, which is a whole generation and a half more advanced than the 99A. And we also need to create a fourth-generation exoskeleton armor. Where will we find the time or technology for that? Zhang Ming and Li Bei chimed in. Exactly. Where's the time or technology? It's worth noting that the first-generation military exoskeleton emerged in 2010, followed by the second generation in 2020, and the third generation in 2024, with significant gaps in between. Achieving such groundbreaking research in 6 months is impossible. I possess the necessary technology, Pei Su asserted. The trio fell silent for 2 seconds. The leader is brilliant. The leader is magnificent. We were wrong, they exclaimed sweetly. Chen Kai scoffed. What a ridiculous transformation from arrogance to submission. Chapter 54. True empathy. The notion of pursuing both opportunities is, in fact, quite simple. As long as both parties believe they have exerted their utmost effort, that is sufficient. The means to convey such an impression is straightforward, pioneering research. The 99A is a third-and-a-half generation tank, yet there are likely hidden fourth-generation tanks. Thus, I will simply develop a fifth-generation tank for you. If they claim I am not striving hard enough, that would be quite unreasonable, wouldn't it? As for Commander Chi, even simpler. Developing fourth-generation exoskeleton armor may be challenging for others, but for Pei Su, it is not particularly difficult. Let us head back. As dusk settled, Zhao Linghua invited the group to rest for the night. However, Elder Qin decided to depart. He gathered everyone by the vehicle. Once inside, he observed their exuberant expressions and inquired, what is going on? Why are the children so excited? Oh, we have accepted 2 private jobs. Since Elder Qin permitted them to take on private work, Pei Su felt no need to conceal this and shared it openly. 2 private jobs? Quite impressive, Elder Qin smiled, acknowledging Pei Su's capabilities. However, he soon sensed something amiss. Did the Kyoto Military District really assign you 2 private jobs? Oh, not quite, Pei Su clarified. Commander Zhao from the Kyoto Military District and Commander Chi from the Magic City Military District each assigned me a private job. Each assigned a private job? Elder Qin echoed. Intrigued, he paused for a moment, tentatively inquiring, is it related to the grand military competition? Indeed, Pei Su nodded. What are you planning? Elder Qin exclaimed in astonishment. Are you looking to have your cake and eat it too? Pei Su nodded, responding with a sense of certainty. Having my cake and eating it too is perfectly reasonable. Elder Qin fell into silence, reflecting, straddling 2 boats seldom leads to a favorable outcome. If only my legs were longer, that wouldn't be an issue, Pei Su smiled. Elder Qin chose not to elaborate further. Having witnessed countless events in his nearly century-long life, he refrained from judging Pei Su's dual ambitions. In his view, if Pei Su truly possessed such capabilities, then the notion of having one's cake and eating it too would be inconsequential. Conversely, if Pei Su lacked the necessary abilities yet still aspired to straddle 2 boats, the eventual consequences would be profoundly impactful. Both scenarios held merit. The former showcased Pei Su's potential, while the latter would serve to temper his character. The following day, back at school, Elder Qin conducted his usual lessons in the classroom. And by noon, the class had concluded. Brother Pei, what would you like to eat? I can bring it for you, Xiao Hua said, preparing to accompany Chen Kai to the cafeteria. Pei Su, however, intended to visit the library. Without lifting his gaze, he replied, a serving of braised chicken rice. All right. At the library, Pei Su scanned his student ID, and the display immediately revealed a series of densely packed characters. Student, Pei Su. Major, none. Class, Dragon Talent Class. Category, Red Military. Access level, A1. The absence of a major was due to the Dragon Talent class not being managed by any college, but rather directly overseen by the highest administrative authority of the school. Li Yinchang. The designation Red Military indicated that Pei Su would don a red graduation robe upon completion, a special attire reserved for those in military specialties. The A1 access level was a privilege granted by Elder Qin, typically reserved for select military educators. Ascending to the second floor's confidential area of the library, Pei Su found himself surrounded by classified materials, which were categorized into 3 zones based on their confidentiality levels, C1, B1, and A1. The A1 access level permitted Pei Su to peruse all confidential documents within the library, representing the pinnacle of access rights. He pondered the intricacies of exoskeleton armor, tanks, and large destructive weaponry. Picking up a book titled Attempts to Integrate the 4th-Generation Exoskeleton Mechanism and Power System, authored by Wang Hongxia, he felt a surge of excitement. With keen focus, he delved into the text. As he read, he encountered passages that elucidated profound principles while presenting challenges designed to familiarize the reader with the theoretical concepts. The complexity of exoskeleton technology became increasingly apparent to Pei Su. It was not merely a matter of materials, but rather the formidable challenge of maintaining high-intensity, load-bearing capacity and pressure resistance while ensuring robust joint flexibility. Any external apparatus is bound to impose certain constraints. Even the simplest garment can create a subtle sensation of restriction, albeit less conspicuous. However, in terms of data, wearing any garment, even a loosely fitted wrist guard, can affect joint mobility to a degree. This notion becomes starkly evident in the context of exoskeleton armor. Materials such as carbon fiber and carbon alloys are essential to uphold strength, enabling users to lift heavier loads and achieve greater speeds. Yet, the very strength of these materials often compromises flexibility. Physics dictates that as strength increases, ductility diminishes. Thus, exoskeleton armor is first constrained by materials science and, secondly, by safety considerations. Often, exoskeleton armor does not provide true safety, but merely augments the user's strength and speed. The joints of most exoskeletons are vulnerable. Even a drop of water or a stray stone could short-circuit their internal circuitry, let alone the potential penetration from a bullet. Pei Su envisioned what the 4th-generation exoskeleton armor must embody, immersing himself in the mindset of a soldier clad in such armor. He approached the librarian for a piece of paper and a pen, determined to articulate his theories. As the saying goes, one can only truly empathize by standing in another's shoes. Now, Pei Su envisioned himself as a soldier. Chapter 55. Pei Su presents the Practical Development Bible. I am a soldier, situated within a dense rainforest. Due to the challenging terrain, transport vehicles cannot reach this location. Thus, I require exoskeleton armor to lift heavy objects and traverse this jungle. The moisture here threatens to short-circuit my armor. Should that occur, not only would I fail to transport my cargo, but my personal safety would also be gravely jeopardized. After all, the batteries in exoskeleton armor are high-powered energy sources. Any malfunction could prove catastrophic for an ordinary individual. Therefore, I hope that the exoskeleton armor I wear incorporates waterproof mechanisms at the joints. The terrain is intricate, with dense foliage. The items I carry are often obstructed by rugged branches. Hence, my exoskeleton armor must exhibit exceptional flexibility to navigate these obstacles. Furthermore, the objects I transport are electrically charged, and if they come into contact with water, I could face electrocution. Thus, the armor must possess insulation properties and, ideally, be capable of forming a Faraday cage to ensure complete electrical isolation. Pei Su meticulously recorded his standards on paper. First, the joints must be waterproof. Second, it must possess high flexibility. Third, it must be insulated. Fourth, it must maintain a certain level of high strength. Fifth, it necessitates a certain level of intelligence. Specifically, it must be equipped with a compact AI. While it need not possess exceptional intelligence, it must be capable of making immediate judgments based on the information provided by sensors, thereby aiding users in adapting to various scenarios and environments. Sixth, seventh, and 15th, it must be bulletproof. Time and again, he wrote and contemplated. Pei Su increasingly immersed himself in the persona of that soldier. He resembled an immortal warrior, clad in rudimentary exoskeleton armor, repeatedly sacrificing his life merely to test the potential enhancements of the armor. Only after completing these standards did Pei Su feel himself gradually detach from the identity of the soldier in the rainforest. He suddenly realized that dusk had fallen outside. Surrounding him were Xiaohua, Chun Ke, and others, all wearing expressions of concern. "Why are you looking at me?" Pei Su instinctively asked. Xiaohua hesitated, pointing towards Pei Su's face. Pei Su touched his face and discovered it was damp. "What is happening?" Pei Su queried in confusion. "Why am I crying?" Xiaohua gestured towards the ceiling. "You're not crying. The ceiling is leaking, and you've been sitting here, so we were worried." Pei Su raised his head and noticed the ceiling was indeed leaking. He instinctively wiped his face with his clothing, slightly annoyed. "Why didn't you remind me?" "Mainly because you were too focused." Xiaohua and Chun Ke exchanged glances. Chun Ke, feeling resigned, added, "I heard that people in somnambulism shouldn't be awakened. And since you seemed so engrossed and didn't respond to me, I was a bit scared to disturb you." Turning his head again, Pei Su spotted Wang Qingyu, Zhang Ming, Li Bei, and even a school doctor waiting outside the confidentiality area. Seeing this scene, a warm feeling surged within Pei Su. Thank you. I was too focused just now and didn't notice. He picked up the paper and handed it to the others for inspection. Although the paper was smudged by the water from the ceiling, Pei Su had written the characters in large print, allowing everyone to discern the blurred text. There were a total of 15 standards. As they examined each one, their astonishment grew. Gulp. Gazing at the exceedingly stringent criteria, they couldn't help but swallow hard. Pei Gu, Xiaohua murmured. I'm starting to doubt whether we can simultaneously complete the commissions from the Kyoto Military District and the Magic City Military District within 6 months. Upon hearing Xiaohua's words, the others shared his sentiments. In truth, many features in the standards for the 4th generation exoskeleton armor were unnecessary. For instance, insulation, Faraday cage, and waterproofing. None of these features would affect whether the exoskeleton armor met the 4th generation standards. However, if such standards were included, the armor would undoubtedly be highly practical. Conversely, the difficulty of development would increase significantly. One of the standards stipulates that it must be capable of transforming into a Faraday cage-like device in a short time to assist the user in insulation against electric shocks. Merely this aspect challenges the limits of flexibility within the exoskeleton industry. Coupled with other requirements, even elite individuals like Xiaohua and Qin Ke, not to mention those with unique abilities like Wang Qingyu, Li Bei, and Zhang Ming, felt an overwhelming sense of impossibility. These standards would elevate the completion level of the exoskeleton armor substantially, while the difficulty would grow exponentially. To fulfill various practical standards while also enhancing its performance to 4th generation levels is undoubtedly a formidable task. Squad leader, Wang Qingyu hesitated before voicing her thoughts. If we genuinely aim for a dual-purpose approach, we must manufacture both the 5th generation main battle tank and the 4th generation exoskeleton armor within 6 months. In reality, for newcomers like us, achieving this is the utmost limit of our capabilities. You've added numerous practical standards, and indeed, once developed, it will be a highly mature product. Yet, with our current productivity and research capabilities, it is utterly impossible to complete the designs for these 2 high-completion works within 6 months. Thus, Wang Qingyu hesitated but ultimately chose to express her most sincere and candid thoughts. My suggestion is to abandon everything, to create for the sake of creation. We merely need to provide a conceptual framework. Truly mature products will naturally be developed by future generations. Therefore, we should not harbor any guilt. As she spoke, Wang Qingyu's confidence grew, and the shame on her face dissipated entirely. She was persuading herself. No, you are mistaken. Just as she believed her words embodied the singular truth in the room, Pei Su solemnly shook his head. He then articulated the first rule of the inaugural Dragon Talent class. All research must be designed from the perspective of the user. Disregard all forms of hollow idealism, and prioritize all forms of pragmatism. Only by viewing this creation from the user's standpoint can we identify avenues for improvement. Upon hearing Pei Su's words, the others did not yet realize that this would become a cardinal principle in the history of the Dragon Talent class. Later, some would refer to this segment of speech as the Bible of Practical Development. Chapter 56, The Trembling Deputy of the Military Science Approval Department. Everything must begin from pragmatism. All that scientists create cannot deviate from reality. Everything must consider the user's perspective and strive to encompass comprehensive functionality. As long as development is grounded in these 2 principles, failure is impossible. At this moment, in the library of Lonka University, Pei Su sat at the entrance, enjoying a meal of Huangmin chicken rice, while others stood by, gazing at him. Regarding the production of the exoskeleton armor, I have already formulated part of the answer in my mind. Grant me a little more time for study, and I can provide sufficient technical insight. Speaking thus, Pei Su checked his progress. Media percentage. 4. Acquiring technology for the 4th generation exoskeleton armor will take approximately 1 month. Similarly, obtaining the technology for the 5th generation tank will also require about a month. He chewed on the now cold golden rice, greedily savoring the flavor of the broth. Pei Su mumbled, I'll give everyone 2 months. After 2 months, we will officially enter the production phase. During this time, any knowledge we do not understand must be inquired from Elder Qin. Do not be shy. After all, Elder Qin has permitted us to undertake this private project. The 2 commissions we accepted pertain to the actual combat capabilities of 2 major military districts, even 2 major battle zones. The more private projects we take on, the happier Elder Qin will be. 2 months. To complete all theoretical knowledge acquisition. For the others, this will be an exceedingly arduous task. After all, merely reading a book and achieving comprehension, applying it practically, cannot be accomplished in just a day or 2. Ordinary individuals cannot elevate their knowledge to this level within 2 months. Yet, how many ordinary individuals are present here? Xiaohua. During the year of sudden reform in the college entrance examination essay in the Kyoto Military District, still managed to achieve a score of 55 based on his abilities. Qin Ke, a 2nd-generation disciple closely following Master Qin, is indeed extraordinary. It is not merely because he is by Master Qin's side that he has become remarkable. Rather, It is his inherent exceptional nature that allows him to be in such esteemed company. As for Wang Qingyu, Li Bei, and Zhang Ming, these three individuals possess unique abilities that further distinguish them. Consequently, there was little dissent among the group regarding this matter. The challenges they faced were substantial, yet the rewards were equally immense. With a commission of 50 million from the Beijing Military District, alongside 20 million from the Magic City Military District, this financial windfall enabled everyone to pursue their aspirations. This is the essence of capitalizing on knowledge, a point of great significance to Pei Su. In the inaugural Dragon Talent class, some participants hailed from affluent backgrounds, such as Pei Su, Xiaohua, and Wang Qingyu, while others came from more modest means. The stark disparity in their circumstances could complicate their interactions. Therefore, earning money together to bridge these gaps is indeed a prudent course of action. Perhaps Master Qin's intention in allowing them to take on private projects was to foster closer bonds through shared financial success. The following day, a Saturday at 7 o'clock, Pei Su arrived at the library and was taken aback by the scene that unfolded before him. To his surprise, Xiaohua and the others had arrived even earlier. Engrossed in their studies, each individual's gaze was imbued with an intense passion for advancing technology, a defining trait of every member of the first Dragon Talent class. Each one harbored a fervent love for technology, or rather, an almost obsessive drive towards achieving higher levels of technological advancement. By 4 in the afternoon, Pei Su decided to take his leave, as he had numerous tasks awaiting his attention. For instance, the 4th-generation exoskeleton armor project, along with the 5th-generation tank and large destructive weapon project, required approval from the Military Science Approval Department. Such approvals necessitate considerable advanced preparation, prompting him to log onto the official website to complete the necessary documentation and submit it. Meanwhile, at the Military Science Approval Department, Wang Xiaoyan was preparing to conclude his workday. As the second-in-command of the department, he had long relinquished ambitions for further advancement, content to diligently fulfill his responsibilities before returning home to his wife and daughter. His gaze fell upon a photograph on his desk, a family portrait where his daughter stood at the center, flanked by her parents, all wearing radiant smiles. Had Pei Su been present, he might have recognized his daughter in the photograph, resembling a younger version of Wang Qingyu. Wang Xiaoyan sighed, reflecting on the complexities of family life. His daughter was currently enrolled in the Dragon Talent class at Lunka University, a highly classified institution with a security level surpassing all other departments at the university, including specialized military units. This high level of secrecy meant outsiders were typically barred from entry, and Wang Xiaoyan had been so preoccupied with work that he had not had the opportunity to visit his daughter. A sudden thought struck him. Since his daughter was part of the Dragon Talent class, working closely with Master Qin, she must have completed some significant projects by now. With this in mind, he reopened his computer to conduct a search. Upon entering the name Wang Qingyu, 4 interfaces suddenly appeared on the screen. Interface 1, Research Project on the 8th Generation Military Aircraft, approved. Interface 2, 5th Generation Tank and Large Destructive Weapon Project requested by the Beijing Military District, pending approval. Interface 3, 4th Generation Exoskeleton Armor Project requested by the Magic City Military District, pending approval. Upon seeing the 2 pending projects related to the Magic City and Beijing Military Districts, Wang Xiaoyan was momentarily taken aback. What was this? He cautiously clicked into the projects to review the details, and with each passing moment, his heart raced. Notably, Master Qin was absent from the list of project participants. Furthermore, the participants for both projects were identical, comprising 6 individuals: Pei Su, Xiaohua, Chen Ke, Wang Qingyu, Li Bei, and Zhang Ming. Most alarmingly, the termination date listed for both projects was June. June. What significant event might that entail? As the second-in-command of the Military Science Approval Department, Wang Xiaoyan immediately recognized the implications. The grand military competition. He was jolted upright, realization dawning upon him. What did this mean? A phrase surfaced in his mind. 1 fish, 2 meals? He attempted to regain his composure. Surely not, surely not. Would these young people dare to undertake such a reckless endeavor? Were they unaware of the potential consequences? Playing both sides, wasn't that akin to being a fence-sitter? Moreover, the grand military competition between the Beijing Military District and the Magic City Military District involved not just these 2 districts, but also the rankings of the Central and Eastern War Zones. A matter of great honor that both regions held in high regard. Furthermore, the victors would receive substantial financial backing from the National Academy in the following year. In other words, this could involve hundreds of billions and numerous high-ranking officers. Surely it could not be true. Wang Xiaoyan pondered. Could a group of recent high school graduates, newly entered into university, dare to take such a gamble? Yet, soon he felt a sense of unease. It was precisely because they were a group of audacious young university students that they might undertake such a perilous risk. He felt a tremor of fear. Chapter 57, Wang Xiaoyan. What an absurdity. 1 fish, 2 meals? However, even he found the prospect terrifying. This involved hundreds of billions in military funds, dozens of major generals, and potentially even full generals. It was unimaginable that anyone else could attempt such a gamble. Yet these were young people, A cohort of fearless individuals, the first members of the Dragon Talent class. What others dared not attempt, these young individuals would. What others hesitated to claim, they would boldly embrace. Thus, Wang Xiaoyun felt a genuine apprehension. This situation was indeed alarming. Surely not, surely not. He steadied himself. The Dragon Talent class is backed by Master Qin. Wouldn't even the leaders of the National Academy give him some respect? With Master Qin supervising, they should not act recklessly. But were they truly unlikely to overstep? Wang Xiaoyun remained somewhat uneasy, meticulously reviewing the details of the two projects. The research materials for the Beijing Military District outlined the development of a fifth-generation tank and at least one type of large destructive weapon. It was described as such. The fifth-generation military tank would far surpass the 99A, a super tank designed to eliminate the current vulnerabilities posed by drones in the tank domain. The standards for this fifth-generation military tank include 1. Robust artificial intelligence. 2. Powerful information gathering capabilities. 3. Exceptional defense and firepower. 4. Superior adaptability to all environments. With this in mind, I, Pei Su, have resolved to create an all-terrain amphibious tank capable of operating in air, land, and sea. It will possess brief flight capabilities, extended endurance on water, and standard operational capabilities on land, adaptable for use across all three domains. Its firepower is approximately 3 times that of the 99A, with a speed limit of around 300 km per hour, and it is equipped with an optical field system to counter drones. It will incorporate the same artificial intelligence as the 8th-generation fighter jet, boasting a computational power increase of about 1,000. As I read through these descriptions, Wang Xiaoyun's blood pressure began to rise. Could these be the utterances of a rational individual, stronger than the 99A, a 5th-generation tank? It is important to note that the most powerful tank currently in the country has not yet been publicly unveiled, and the 99A is the officially recognized strongest tank. The 50 caliber smoothbore cannon's power is already among the top in the country. Any enhancement requires extensive experimentation. Yet this child speaks as if it were trivial, claiming it is 3 times more powerful than the 99A? What nonsense. And 300 kilometers per hour? Understand that the maximum speed of a tank is merely 100 kilometers. Its heavy armor restricts the speed limit inherent to tanks. What is worse? Achieving the aforementioned capabilities is already a formidable challenge. Yet this Pei Su dares to suggest it could be amphibious? Really? A tank that can fly, swim, and run? Who would believe that? At that moment, a bold thought crossed Wang Xiaoyun's mind. Could it be that his daughter has been deceived? Indeed. Every father instinctively worries about his daughter. Moreover, Wang Xiaoyun has no son with his wife. Wang Qingyu is their only child, intensifying his concern. He felt increasingly unsettled, yearning to rush to Lonka University to see his daughter. Nonetheless, he managed to retain a semblance of rationality. With trembling hands, he gradually opened the second project, 4th-generation exoskeleton armor. The 4th-generation exoskeleton armor is standardized for joint flexibility above 99 and a weight limit of 8 kilograms. We will implement numerous substantial functions while adhering to these standards. Function 1. Possesses insulation capabilities. Function 2. Can rapidly change its form in about 0.3 seconds. Capable of adopting the shape of a Faraday cage to assist the user in hazardous electrified areas. Functions 3 to 15. After reviewing all the functions, Wang Xiaoyun felt a darkness enveloping him. Is this something a human can conceive? It is exceedingly comprehensive. Indeed, the cost of exoskeleton armor is high, limiting its deployment to special forces. And special forces often face a variety of scenarios. Sometimes they are dispatched to combat fires. At other times they accompany police to apprehend suspects, and on occasion, they are tasked with crowd control. In various situations, such as train stations, apprehending suspects, and major competitions, the exoskeleton must meet diverse requirements. From the perspective of special forces, an exoskeleton armor boasting 15 functionalities is nothing short of miraculous. It effectively addresses the myriad challenges faced by special operations, potentially alleviating many operational difficulties. However, from Wang Xiaoyun's viewpoint, this is sheer folly. What a joke. To not only complete the 4th-generation exoskeleton armor, but also to incorporate a staggering 15 practical, yet highly challenging functionalities. Wang Xiaoyun initially pondered that at least one of these projects had to be feasible. Yet, it seems none of them are credible. Are these projects even viable? I might as well eat my computer. Wang Xiaoyun mused. Yet, this concerns his daughter. He finds it difficult to imagine how his clear-headed and independent daughter could have been brainwashed into participating in these projects. The pressing matter at hand is not to verify the feasibility of these projects, but to eliminate one of them. The question remains, which one should be discarded? Wang Xiaoyun gazed at the 2 projects, feeling overwhelmed. The documentation also listed the names of the parties involved. For the first project, the party is Kyoto Military District. For the second project, the party is Magic City Military District. There are no specific names provided. However, most military science projects typically require the inclusion of specific individuals' names. If only the unit name is provided, it usually indicates one of 2 scenarios. Scenario 1. The individual filling out the documents is completely uninformed, believing it is akin to corporate collaboration and thus simply writing the name of the party organization. Scenario 2. The unit name is recorded because the collaborating entity is the highest authority of the party unit. In other words, if it is Scenario 2, then the parties for these two projects are Commander Zhao Lingua of the Kyoto Military District and Commander Qi Tianyun of the Magic City Military District. At that moment, Wang Chaoyun felt dizzy. He was at a loss for how to choose. Resolutely, he decided, I will choose whoever I point to. Magic City Military District. Rejected. With a gentle click of the mouse, Wang Chaoyun declined the exoskeleton armor project. A wave of relief washed over him. The verification can wait. However, if this dual engagement is discovered, his daughter could also be implicated. Chapter 58. Simultaneously researching the 5th-generation tank and 4th-generation exoskeleton. At this moment, in the Magic City Military District, Qi Tianyun sat in his office, accompanied by an aide. This aide, named Huang Aijuan, is a major general in the Magic City Military District. Should Qi Tianyun retire without an external appointment, Huang Aijuan is likely to be selected as the next commander through internal promotion. In essence, Huang Aijuan holds a position in the Magic City Military District akin to that of Major General Chu Jinhua in the Kyoto Military District. Old Huang, Qi Tianyun said softly. In 6 months, the day of the grand military competition will arrive. Huang Aijuan nodded. Today alone, about 15 major generals have called me. Qi Tianyun chuckled bitterly. Today, 7 lieutenant generals have also contacted me, inquiring about our chances of victory. This is of utmost importance. Although there are still 6 months until the grand military competition, today alone, there have been inquiries from 15 major generals and 7 lieutenant generals to the Magic City Military District regarding this matter. It seems to be a contest between the Kyoto Military District and the Magic City Military District, but it also represents a competition between the Central and Eastern Theater Commands, with implications for hundreds of billions in military funding in the years to come. Can such a significant project be entrusted to Pei Su and her team? Can she deliver? Gazing out the window, Qi Tianyun felt as though he were walking on a tightrope over an unfathomable abyss. Choosing Pei Su is akin to selecting a stick without a discernible exterior. One cannot ascertain its true material until one has traversed a distance. If it is a wooden stick, it could be disastrous, as the gaps between the wood could lead to an imbalance in weight and result in a fall into the abyss. Qi Tianyun is acutely aware of one thing. He is growing older. It is time for him to step down. Most likely, after 2 or 3 more grand military competitions, he will gradually depart from this military stage. To land safely, he must perform well in these upcoming competitions. He does not necessarily need to win. Convincing others that one has exerted their utmost effort can indeed be a form of victory. Thus, he opted for Pei Su. In truth, he had numerous alternatives available to him, whether it be Wang Hongzhe from Harbin Institute of Technology, Li Yong or Wang Jiang from Lonka Institute, or even Wang Jun from the military laboratory in the Magic City. All were commendable choices. Wang Hongzhe, associated with Harbin Institute, was uninvolved in factional alignments, while Lonka Institute remained entirely neutral, unaffected by the 2 principal military districts. Wang Jun, being a local, would naturally be amenable to collaboration. Furthermore, each of these 3 entities possessed formidable technological prowess. At this juncture, what he truly sought was a stable landing. Qi Tianyun continued to analyze his requirements. What he needed was a smooth execution. Choosing Pei Su might yield substantial returns, yet at present, he was not in pursuit of extraordinary tactics for victory, but rather a steady resolution. Hence, seeking Wang Hongzhe or Wang Jun would be more prudent. Upon reaching this conclusion, Qi Tianyun promptly turned on the office computer and accessed the official website of the Military Science Approval Department. The multitude of project names from the Magic City Military District flooded his screen. He swiftly clicked on a feature to sort them by date. Soon, one project emerged before him. Pei Su's submission regarding the 4th-generation exoskeleton armor. Upon encountering the term 4th-generation exoskeleton armor, Qi Tianyun admitted he was indeed tempted. However, his pursuit remained that of stability. Suddenly, his gaze fixated on a shocking revelation. Not approved? Approver, Wang Chaoyun. Reason, insufficient technological capability. Project documentation lacks feasibility and is overly nebulous. Upon reading this, both Qi Tianyun and Huang Aijuan were momentarily taken aback. What on earth is old Wang thinking? What issues could this project possibly have? Huang Aijuan exclaimed, reaching for the phone to directly contact Wang Chaoyun. In a sense, the Military Science Approval Department was on par with the military district itself, often due to its responsibility for approving nearly all major military science projects. It could wield even greater authority than the military district. Yet, within the military districts, hierarchies existed. How could a mere Wang Chaoyun, being the 3rd in command of the approval department, stymie them on such a pivotal project? Was he out of his mind? Hold on, Qi Tianyun interjected, stopping Huang Aijuan. He contemplated the situation and searched for Pei Su's name on the approval department's project listings. Owing to his status as the commander of the military district, Qi Tianyun possessed elevated access privileges. Instantly, multiple projects associated with Pei Su appeared before him. When Qi Tianyan noticed another project from the Kyoto Military District that